Hello, everyone. I just wanted to introduce Zach, our CEO and founder here with Layer. My name is Georgios, and I'm the Director of Customer Experience. Basically, today, what we'll go through very quickly is one of our newest features that we are excited to release for the month of February, the Revit Model Annotations. This was actually a feature that we started working as a result of a request for one of our clients. So Zach, drive us through the model annotations, start with a broad overview, and then jump into the feature itself.
Thanks, Georgios. This is a feature that we've been working on for a long time. It has been one of our biggest requested features. Basically, the ability to annotate your model directly within Layer. And so I'm going to go through what is changing here. But first, I'm going to talk about what exists today and really what's new with model annotation. So anytime you add a model to Layer, you're able to view categories of items through the lens of your model. So like, for example, here, if I look at my furniture category that has all of my Revit furniture in it, I can quickly go to a model view and I can view all the instances in this category in a model. This has been around for a year or two now and has been primarily the way that you could access your model is directly looking at categories of items within your model. What is new is that we've now enabled or given the ability to create views within non-Revit categories that allow you to layer data on top of a model. So I'll show you an example of this. I'm going to go to my model issues category up here. And you can see that the individual items here are actually issues. They're not a model object like a piece of furniture or something like this. But what we can do is we can connect these individual items within this category back to the model. We can use the model as a way to annotate with those items. So I'll show you an example of this. So if I go to this drop down here, I can create a new view. And you can see that within this dialog now, what has changed is that we've now given users the ability to use a model view in a non-Revit category. So I can choose this model view. I can choose which model I want to use for this view. I can choose a view from my model, like my new construction 3D view, or I can use sheets. And then we can choose how we actually want to link or annotate the model by placing points in the model or just linking directly to model objects. So I actually have one of these views already created. So I'm going to close out of this quickly and show you that. And again, for this example, we've created this category called model issues that is basically a collection of coordination issues for my model. So you can see that I have about 5 issues in here. All of them are related to my model. I have a status and a type, a due date, and who it's assigned to. Now, if I go to my 3D new construction view, this is the model view that I've created. You can see I can look at my actual model. But what you'll notice that's different here is that we actually have annotations linked and placed in 3D within my model. So if I'm using this view as a way to coordinate changes or issues as I'm modeling, we can quickly create new issues by clicking on this plus button here. And I can place a reference in my model. So let's say I need to move this column. I can place the reference here directly on that column, and you can see it creates a new issue for me. But I can say we need to relocate column. You can see the status is set automatically for me. I can say what this issue is related to. I'm just going to call this an issue. We can set a due date and assign it to maybe my structural engineer. And maybe I want to keep myself in the loop on those changes. Okay, so you can see that this issue is now tied directly back to this object and located in this model and is aware that it's located in this model. I can just click this link down here and it'll take me back to that item. You can also really quickly search and filter this. So I can look for specific issues and you can see that my view updates based on what I'm searching for. So you can quickly summarize the data within this view as well. And as you click on these items, it pulls up these details. So again, the big difference here is that you're able to create any type of category that collects information and connect it back to specific locations within your model. Let's talk about one other aspect of this, which so far I've just shown you how you can use dots as a way to annotate your model, but you can also just link directly to objects from your model as well. So I'll show you that here. In my view settings, I can change this option here from placing points in a model to linking model objects to elements. And if I change that option here and hit save, now what's going to happen is instead of creating dots for each one of these issues, it's actually just going to connect to objects from my model. So I can create a new issue again. But again, now I'm just selecting directly objects within my model. So I could pick on this sofa, for example. And when I pick on this, it creates a new issue. And I can quickly add a description. All right. So that in a nutshell, that's the way that we deal with 3D models with model annotations. The other aspect of this that I want to demonstrate here is we now give you the ability to use Revit sheets as a basis in model view as well. So if those customers who've been with us for a while know with features like drawing view, we've given you the ability for a while to be able to overlay annotations on top of a PDF set of drawings. So I have an example of that here with a punch list where, I'm looking at a set of PDF drawings here and I can overlay these items on top of this PDF. The problem always has been, I don't want to have to export or print all of my sheets to a PDF and then upload that into Layer. I want to basically use my Revit sheets directly within Layer. And so now today we have the ability to do that. So I'm going to go back to my model issues here and I'll demonstrate how we can create a model view to use our floor plan as a basis to overlay issues on top of. So I'm going to come up here to this dropdown and I'm going to create a new view. And we're just going to call this our first floor plan. And I'm going to choose this model view option. So here is where we'll select the model. By the way, in views, you can add multiple models to a view. So if you want to use your MEP model or your structural model as a basis, you can do that as well. And then we can choose our sheets. So I'm going to choose this first floor plan here. And we're just going to leave it at place points in the model. And I'm going to create that view. Okay, so now this gives us my sheet. And you can see that it's smart and knows where the objects are on my floor plan, but visually it looks exactly the same as my sheet in Revit. Similar to the 3D model view, I can quickly create new issues by clicking on this plus button here, and I can place those issues directly on my sheet. So maybe I want to add an issue in my stair, and there's my issue that I created. So you can see issue number 8 was created, and say update the stair geometry, and I can choose the type, due date, assignment, etc. And if I keep scrolling here, you can see that it does know where this item is located in my model. So if I zoom out here, I can obviously click on this and it'll take me directly back to where that item is at in my model. A side note, you can control the default dot size by dragging the slider here. So whatever you set it to within a drawing, it's going to leave that as the default for that drawing. Okay, so then ways we can utilize this beyond model view. One example of this is we can create reports with this information now. So for example, I'm going to create another issue, let's say over here. And I have a document view that is basically going to create a PDF report of this, of these model issues themselves. So I'm going to go to it and I'm going to focus on, I'm going to go to that issue number 8. And you can see that I can add all of the details here. I could add any photos I wanted, anything else like that. But you can see that the annotation is now previewed directly on my document, and I can quickly export this to a PDF. Lastly, it's important to mention too that all of these annotations now, you can not only export in a report, PDF report, but you can get this information out with the model coordinates as well. So all I have to do is come up here to export report and choose the Excel option. And when I click on export, basically what this will do is this will export a spreadsheet with all of my items, but it will also give me my coordinates for each of these items as well. So what you can do with this is you can use this in tools like Dynamo or others to transpose this into your Revit environment. Okay. With that, I think we've covered most of our bases there. Georgios, any other things I'm missing here?
One thing that I find very powerful is, can you show us a little bit how the filtering could work for someone that's also only searching for issues that are open, for instance?
Sure. Yeah. Sounds good. Let's say that I wanted to filter to only items that are in review. All I have to do is quickly add a filter, and I can say wherever my status is in review. You can see that it'll show me all the items that are in review. I could check that off and say, no, I only want to look at in progress ones, or maybe I want to look at open ones. And again, we could look at resolved ones as well. So you can create any groups of those, and you can see that turns it on and off. You'll notice too that all the dots are showing up, but remember we connected this issue directly to this object, and you can see that it's being visualized because the issue connected to it meets the filter criteria. So a lot of ways to search and filter this information that makes it really powerful.
Yeah, and to add a little bit on top of that, for users that are already familiar with this, basically you can create multiple views. You can duplicate your 3D views and then have different filters applied to them, right? So you can have a 3D view that says, that has all the open items, and maybe another 3D view that has in progress items. So that is also powerful when it comes to project management. If you're tracking which team or which discipline is responsible for which items, then you can create different views for like structures, interiors, enclosures, MEP, and so forth. So it's a very powerful feature when it comes to project management, your Revit model. And we know that for a fact that basically not everyone wants to be in Revit, right? So it's cloud-based. So basically it's accessible from everyone, even without a Revit license.
I'm going to clear this filter and just show some of the other improvements that we've made recently to model view. So we have given users the ability now to save section cuts and other view presets back to a view. So for example, maybe I want it to show like the section cut of my second floor or something like that. I can change that section cut, but then click here to save those changes back to the view so that every time I refresh this page, it's going to show the model in this orientation.
That was pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah, very much appreciated the time, Zach. We're looking forward for any feedback.
Yes, we thrive on user feedback, so definitely give it a try and let us know what you think. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.